right? Well, a Monday meeting between President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy did not result in a deal to raise the debt ceiling, thankfully. The pair on Monday met once again to discuss a possible resolution to avert a default. The U.S. hit its $31.38 trillion spending limit in January, prompting Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen to implement extraordinary measures to pay the government's bills. She has repeatedly insisted lawmakers must reach a deal before June 1st to avoid a default. After the meeting, McCarthy expressed optimism that the pair could reach an agreement, saying, "I believe we can get it done." According to the New York Times, we both agree we want to be able to come to an agreement. Hey, that's a first step. They both agree they want to come to an agreement. Hey, check that one off. Dumbest quote I've ever seen. The speaker further reiterated Republicans' non-negotiables, including opposition to reductions in military spending or raising taxes to address the deficit. The California Republican went on to assert that he and the president would continue to speak every day until they reach an agreement.
The Republicans have a winning hand here. I don't know if they're holding aces, but they're holding the winning hand, and all 5 cards are on the table. They've got the winning hand. Now just decide that you're going to go all in and play the winning hand. Do not bluff this off, to use lame poker terminology here.
Yeah, that is lame.
You have the winning hand. Don't blow it. Let them gaslight as much as they want, including the Treasury Secretary I saw all weekend on all the Sunday shows. Chuck Todd, shockingly, came as close as someone can to saying to her, you get revenue every month, enough to cover the payment on the bond, the debt, you're not defaulting on the debt. They won't say it in those terms, right, but there's no defaulting on the debt. She said $500 billion will come in June. That'll be one of the highest income months for the government in recent time. We've been taking somewhere between $350 to $400 billion, $450. June will be $500 billion. She'll need 40 or 50 or whatever the number is to pay the debt, so we won't default on the debt that you keep hearing about. Then she'll pay all the other things that are compelled by the 14th Amendment, not this cockamamie idea that Biden keeps telling us, that somehow he thinks the 14th Amendment allows him to, which would be one of the gravest attacks on separation of powers, that the president could somehow issue debt just by going like this. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is so absurd. But there's enough money to pay the bond payment on the debt, make the debt payment, pay Social Security, pay Medicare, pay the VA, pay the military, and then whatever the deficit is that they're short, that's what they got to prioritize.
Right.
And as Rick said last time we talked about, it's about 17% of the government actually shuts down if the government shuts down. We are not going to default on our debt. The government has shut down before. Everybody lived. Everybody survived. Anything else you hear is gaslighting and propaganda. That's it. That is it. I don't care what the date is. I don't care what, June 15th, the June 15th, the money comes in like it all comes in like it's just nonsense.
Remember last time that they closed certain state parks and we put up barriers. That's because we don't have a debt deal. That's all they're going to do. They're just, like you said, gaslight the situation and make people think, oh, my God, the world is ending. The world's not ending.
The 14th Amendment compels the Treasury Secretary and the President to pay the bond payment on the debt. That's what it says. That's what the wording means. It does not mean the President somehow is going to invoke the 14th Amendment to somehow say, well, Congress, your whole, the whole reason you exist, I'm taking it away, basically. No, that's not what it is. And we'll get into that more, because the Wall Street Journal today has a very good piece on this, on the 14th Amendment. And others I've heard talk about this are also getting the word out here that we've been getting out now for months. We are not defaulting on the debt. Not ever. It's not ever happening.